what people actually wanted out of Bitcoin and what we were trying to do is we were trying to, once again, deal with violence in society. And so ultimately what the big limitation in society and trust is that at some moment anybody can become violent. They can hit you, they can steal from you, they can imprison you, they can do something physical to you, which transcends any logic, right? And it doesn't matter what I told you, it doesn't matter if I lied to you, it doesn't matter if I told you the truth, it doesn't matter how much money you paid me. At some point I can just become distrustful, right? And at some point I can just become violently distrustful. And so society over and over again always invents ways to manage and regulate violence in order to have society. That's what we being civilized society, having a trust-based society or high trust society. Goal here is to figure out how much trust we can actually create and how long we can actually maintain it, and how much violence we can prevent. And so the work that I do at Synonym, I think, ultimately comes down to me not being satisfied with the level of degree that trust and violence are attempted to be managed in systems that are designed to force. And so the system that I'm trying to design, the system that my team researches and works on, ultimately is trying to find a way to manage violence that maximizes harmony, basically, alignment, coordination, matching, maximizes these things in order to minimize violent outcomes, in order to minimize reliance on government. Because no matter what you do, is you ultimately need some way to regulate violence, and violence works like this. I'm one man, and then there are two men, and those two men can beat me up. And then those two men so I get three men, and then they get four men. And we just keep escalating until we have a government and an organized society and an organized government that deploys violence and regulates violence. But because violence is so powerful, it can kill you, this ends up always turning into a concentration of power that becomes corruptible. And so society kind of has this cycle where it grows. It's like we say, great men create good times create weak men, blah, blah, blah. This cycle happens. It's real, I think. It's a natural cycle. It's not something to complain about people. It's just a natural cycle that goes to where we find optimal trust, and then it starts to get exploited. And in other words, this is why we can't have nice things. And it falls again until people learn how to trust each other again in new ways, and it grows and we coordinate. And I think that's all this is. And so in Synonym and the work that we do, what I'm trying to say is that I don't think Bitcoin fixes it. I don't think that Bitcoin clearly does not remove institutional power, government power. They're participating, they're in on it too now. You know what I mean? There's all those kind of promises. Bitcoin didn't actually provide a solution to deal with violence, to deal with trust. It provided a way to hide from it, right? And so it's not a useless tool. It's not like it's a failure. It's just that we have to scope it properly and say, oh, when we use this thing together, it makes it harder for people that are not trustworthy to bother us. But unfortunately, it doesn't scale. It doesn't have any way of dealing with wrench attacks or violence. It doesn't have any way of dealing with, accomplishing scaled payments and coordinating trust eventually. And those are the areas we need to focus on to get what we want. We have to give people ways to express trust intentionally, to decide to coordinate intentionally, and create what I might call a harmony in the moment, where you have dynamic alignment always happening, where the people that want to be working on this and working on that together and believe this together know how to find each other, and they know how to coordinate and work on this together. But there's this happening across many, many dimensions of concept.